Today's question is, what are the 3 methods you can implement to become more productive? Hello, my name is Dr. Samira and welcome to Med with Sam. I'm so glad to see you here. If you're new, do consider hitting the subscribe button. I make videos that simplify medical concepts, and I also make content that is motivational or speaks about organization, productivity. So if you're interested in those kind of things, then do hit the subscribe button. I also have a newsletter, so I write articles on this. If you'd like that in your inbox, then there is a link in the description below. And do consider following me on Instagram if you'd like to see me in my absolute element. Alright, let's get straight into it. What are the 3 top methods you can implement in your life today to become more productive? I like to simplify things. That is my favorite thing to do. And when it comes to productivity, that's a skill that you need to practice and you need to acquire. But things can get quite complicated and difficult to implement. But the way I think about it is that there is essentially a triangle, and there are 3 corners to productivity. Corner 1 is being time efficient, corner 2 is being more organized, and corner 3 is being focused. Corner number 1. How to be more time efficient. The word efficient is important because you want to use your time well and you want to be smart with it. It does not mean get more work done in less time. So how do you become more time efficient? So the first thing you need to do is identify your sweet zone. Alright, there are some people who are morning people. They love to wake up in the morning, get their workout or their study done. Maybe they get to work if they're working somewhere or studying somewhere. Then they come back and they use the evening to wind down and relax. But most of their work is done in the morning. And then there are some people who prefer the afternoon and some people who are night owls. So they will be up till 3 or 4 a.m. in the morning working on whatever, sleep and then wake up late. That's their schedule. The important thing here is that they have been able to identify what is their sweet zone, which means when do they work the best or the most efficient or the most focused. So when you've identified that, you can really think about your schedule. Rather than trying to follow somebody else's schedule, get your work done when you work the best. That is the first tip of trying to become more time efficient. Another way in which you can become more time efficient is by identifying time blockers. So time blockers are these things in our lives, in our day, that really take out a huge chunk of our day. It could be meeting friends every day for just a cup of coffee, or it could be going and watching Netflix as soon as you get home. But when you identify that, okay, I'm probably not being time efficient because I'm doing this one thing every day that really takes up about 2 to 3 hours. Then you really need to think about, do I need to do this every day or can I use my time better? Identify your time blockers so you can learn what's wasting your time and how can you use it better. Finally, if you want to be more time efficient, the best way to do that is to plan. So let's say you have something like a study material that you need to complete in the next month. Don't just start reading the study material and going through it and hoping that you'll finish by the end of the month. Because what will often happen is that you start off really slow and then you have to exponentially increase your speed right before the exam. Instead, spend like an hour or a day before that study period really reading through the material, understanding what it is all about, figuring out how much time you're going to need to study it, planning that. I'm going to finish this on this day, finish this on that day, set targets for yourself, and you'll realize that you've actually not only studied well, but you've also had time in the day to do other things and enjoy yourself as well. So planning is essential, and you can apply this to anything else that you want to be more time efficient in, like cooking, for example. If I know I'm going to cook a certain dish this evening, and I think about it the night before, I'm like, all right, if I know that I want to cook this thing, how can I make it more time efficient? Probably when I wake up in the morning and I'm making my cup of coffee, I can chop the vegetables on the side as well. So all the vegetables are chopped before I need to actually cook the meal in the evening. And that does help to become more time efficient, make things a bit quicker because you've planned ahead. So that's all about the corner number 1 of the triangle of productivity, which is becoming more time efficient. Corner number 2 in the triangle of productivity. Now this one is all about being more organized, and I have made a video about this in the previous one, so if you like I can add the link to this in the description below if you'd like to take a look at that, and I've also written an article on it. But basically being organized is all about, again, 3 things. I think I love the number 3. Number 1 is buy a planner. I cannot stress on this enough. When I started planning in 2020 using a journal and a planner, my productivity rose exponentially. Because you have this nice little book, you want to, or you have this urge to write in it, and so you do find yourself writing down plans for the day, thinking about things you need to do, and this will, I guarantee you, help you. But it is a habit that you need to develop. Nothing that I'm saying over here is automatic. You do have to get yourself to do these things, and buying a planner and using the planner is one of them. The second thing is to stay away from temptations, like I mentioned before, time blockers, because not only does it waste your time, but it also disorganizes your thought process. If you spend a couple of hours in the afternoon binge watching a show that you never meant to watch, you leave that thinking, oh, what was I supposed to do? Oh, maybe I was supposed to go get vegetables, but I don't feel like it right now. I'll do it tomorrow. And then the meal that you were supposed to cook in the evening goes for a toss. You know, that's just an example, but basically, if you identify what's wasting your time, it'll also help you be a bit more organized. And finally, the best tip I can give you to become more organized is to take the effort away from your head and put it onto something physical in front of you, like a whiteboard. So I use a whiteboard, and I've written all of the different projects I have ongoing, and I've written their targets below, and as I achieve those targets, I rub it out and I write the next target. So all of these different projects are all getting done sort of at the same time, and they're going forwards, and I'm not sitting there thinking about, oh, didn't I have to write that email to that person? Or didn't I have to review that paper? Wasn't I supposed to write that research article? You know, those things can get quite difficult to keep in mind. So having it physically in front of you, visually on like a whiteboard, or if you prefer digitally, it can be digitally, but it really helps to make your thought process more organized, and therefore all of your tasks become organized after that. And finally, here we are at corner number 3 of the triangle of productivity. This one is the most important, and it's all about being focused. Now, although it is the most important, being more focused is the hardest thing to do. How do you get yourself to focus more on a task and actually get it done? And there's a huge list of things, alright, and I can literally make an entire other video on it. I want to speak about 2 things today that make me the most focused at whatever task I'm doing. Now, the first one is throwing multitasking out of the window. If you make chai, not tea, by the way, you will understand this reference. But if you're heating tea on the gas and you're trying to study at the same time, and you're worried that it's all going to come out of the pot and spill all over the gas, or for example, you're trying to write a research article, but at the same time you're minding your neighbor's dog. These are examples of multitasking. Your focus is not going to be 100%. I mean, it very rarely is 100% anyways, but it's definitely going to be a lot lower than what it would have been had you been focusing on that task. So the tip number 1 to become more focused is throw multitasking out of the window. And when I spoke to this with my mum, she looked at me dead in the eye and she said, multitasking helped me raise 2 children while I was working a full-time job. So don't tell me not to multitask. And I said, okay. I backed down and I said, you know what, I'm not going to mention this to you again. She's obviously right, and I respect her for that. But essentially, multitasking does decrease your focus when you're trying to perform a task. So I would advise you to get rid of the thought process that it is a good thing to do. And the second tip I have for you to become more focused is a bit more obvious, and it's all about the environment that you work or you study in. So let's say you work at a company where you have your own desk. Not sure if you've experienced this, but your focus is bound to be a bit more if that desk is organized, if it's clean. So the environment that you are trying to perform the task in is very important. Another example I can give you is when you're cooking. Let's say that you want to cook a nice meal and you want to be efficient about it. I don't know if you've noticed, but I have experienced the fact that if my countertop is organized, if it's clean, I cook better, my food tastes better, and I am more efficient as well. So the second tip is basically improving your environment. If you're a student, I would advise you to make sure you're sitting in a well-lit room, make sure that the environment around you isn't too noisy, and keep your desk clean and keep your desk organized. Don't have your books all over the place because you will study with more focus. Now, I will be more than happy to speak to you guys about focus in general and how to become more focused, and I would love to give you more practical tips. And that honestly is an entire video in itself, so if you'd like that, let me know in the comments below and I will be more than happy to do that for you. But these are basically the 3 corners of productivity that I've spoken about today. If you want to become more productive, you need to become more time efficient, you need to become more organized, and you need to become more focused. And I guarantee when you start working on these 3 things, by the end of the year, by the end of next year, you'll be at a good level with all 3 and you will sense that you have become more productive. So yes, productivity is not something that you can think about today and gain tomorrow. It's a skill that takes practice and that takes time. But for some people it comes naturally and for others it's a bit more difficult. Incorporating what I've said today will definitely guide you in the right direction so that you can become a bit more productive with anything that you do. I do hope you have gotten something from this video today. It's really important for me that whatever I say does provide value to you and does benefit you or affect your life in some way. And I would love to hear if you've liked something I've said, if you disagree, if you don't like something I've said. So do put that in the comments below. If you've enjoyed this video, do hit the like button, subscribe, share it with your friends. It would be a huge help to me as well. And you are more than welcome to ask me any questions you'd like. So do fill the comment box if you'd like to with all sorts of things. I'll be more than happy to check that out. Now, I do make new videos every Monday, and the next one's going to be a bit more science related, so do stay tuned. But in the meantime, bye and good luck.